Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of Game On here on New Central Television. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Thank you again for joining us. You know that Game On is 1 hour of the best sporting news from Nigeria, the continent, and beyond. On this show, we bring you all the latest breaking news and also provide informed analysis of all these sporting events. And we have an absolutely fabulous lineup for you tonight. But before we get into the show, let me remind you that, of course, we're streaming live on YouTube, and you can also follow us on DSTV channel 422 and also on Star Times, yes, channels 274 on Star Times as well, and also on social media, and those are the handles you can see on your screen. There's X, there's Instagram, there's TikTok as well, and the handle is at News Central TV. Welcome once again. I'm not doing the show alone. I have three fine gentlemen with me in the studio. To my far right is Udoka Njoku, who makes a return after a small absence. Udoka, it's nice to see you on the show again.
Thank you very much, and it's been wonderful watching outside the studio, like watching from the backbench. It's been an amazing show so far, and glad to be back.
Thank you very much. Well, Udoka makes a return, and right beside him, of course, is he's pretty much furniture at this particular point in time. He's a permanent fixture on the show. He's also the deputy editor of Sporting Life, one of Nigeria's finest publications, and a good friend of the house as well. Always spicing things up with informed analysis, the weight of experience, and of course, those fantastic proverbs that help you to decode and decipher the quagmire that is Nigerian sports at times. I'm talking about none other than Onyewuchi Nwachukwu. Thank you so much again for joining us.
My pleasure. Yeah. I'm happy to see my good friend.
I hope I don't get bullets today. No bullets.
It's too early. It's too early. It's too early in the show. It's too early in the show. And right beside him, we have a special guest in the studio. It's not every day that we have one of Nigeria's finest sports administrators. He's the Chief Operating Officer of the African Table Tennis Federation. And of course, he's also the Tournament Director of the WTT Contender Lagos that serves off next week in Lagos. Everyone is looking forward to that particular tournament, but it is an honor and a pleasure to have with us in the studio Dr. Kweku Tandoh. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Tunde. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, so without further ado, of course, the WTT Contender Lagos is coming back for the second edition. Last year, 2023, was the first edition. It was, I watched it. I don't sound biased, but I thought it was an absolutely fascinating tournament. Of course, in Nigeria, we have some really good competitions. Of course, the Asoju Oba Lagos Table Tennis Tournament is obviously heads and shoulders above every other one. But the WTT Contender Lagos, wow, now that really blew the minds of a lot of people. Now, tell us, what was the experience like hosting such a massive international tournament in Lagos for the first time?
Yeah, like you rightly said, last year was the first WTT Contender Lagos. But a lot of people forget that this story started in 2013. What we're seeing now is a follow-through on the what started in 2013 as the Lagos International Classics. That went on for 2 years. After that, we got the recognition of the International Table Tennis Federation, and then it now became the ITTF Nigeria Open. That ran for about 7-8 years. I think the only break we had was during the COVID. Period. And it was that ITTF Nigeria Open that now transformed last year to the WTT Contender Series. Now, the WTT Contender Series is the highest level of competitive table tennis in the world. Before you can get to before you can be accepted as a WTT contender, you must have gone through a lot. And I think the teething period we had going through the ITTF Nigeria Open and all that. So for us, it wasn't doing anything new because the standards, the templates and everything were already there. We just had to scale up a bit because now we had people from WTT coming in to supervise, to see what we have on ground. And it's been quite interesting. This year, we're starting on Wednesday next week on the 19th. And the number of and the quality of the table tennis players that we're having this year just goes to show that indeed this tournament has come to stay. And not also forgetting that it's just like 3 weeks before the Olympics. So for so many of them, it's part of their training program towards their participation in the Olympics. So it's certain to be very, very interesting.
Well, that's one of the issues that you mentioned. The fact that it's just a few weeks before the start of the Olympics, which means some of the, do I say, highest ranking players might not be here because they have other training schedules lined up as well. But you do expect some of the very best. Some of the very best in top ranked in the top 20, top 40 at this tournament as well. So that continues to show that the competition continues to maintain that level of consistency, right?
Yeah. Coincidentally, this year that we have the Olympics, just like you said, where we thought that we will not have the number of players definitely has gone down, but the quality of players has increased. This is the first year that we're having 3 of the top 10 players, 3 of the top 20 players coming in.
So it has diminished in terms of quantity,
but the quality,
in terms of quality.
Exactly. Because for the first time we're having a top 6. Hugo Calderano of Brazil, he's a world number 6 right now. Someone that was world number 3 some months ago. He's coming in. He's the highest ranked player that we have that is coming in. Is number 6. We have Oskarov of Germany. He's he's number 14 now. You know, he's gone down a bit. He's also coming in. Of course, Aaron Okwadri, number 17. And then we have some others in the 20s. We have one of the most entertaining players in the world, Ashanta of India. He's coming in as well. And he's almost 40 or maybe even older than 40, but he's playing one of his best table tennis in the last couple of years. And right now, I think he's in the first top 30 again, you know, after such a long time. You remember he played with the likes of Segun Toriola and co. Then during the Commonwealth Games in 2014 and all that. So he's going to be around. On the women's side, we have the world number 7, Shin Yubin of Korea. She's coming in.
19-year-old.
19-year-old, yeah.
Brilliant. She's the defending champion.
She's the defending champion, and she's coming in to defend her title.
Actually, sorry to correct you, she actually won 2 titles last year.
Yes, she won the
women's single and
women's doubles.
Yeah.
She paired with one of our compatriots to win the women's double. We have Manika Batra of India. We also have Shin of Xiao of Portugal. I think she's number 17 now in the world. She's also coming in. Of course, we have our regulars from Africa. Dina Meshref is coming in.
Absolutely.
She's number 24.
Anagoda
is not coming in.
Oh, she's not?
No, she's not coming because she has another training program towards the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, so even Dina just informed us just a few days ago that she would like to come, and if we could still give her a wild card. So she's going to be playing from the qualifiers.
Interesting.
Someone that, of course, you know, will definitely get into the top. So that's how competitive it is this year. But what it has done for us this year is it has allowed us to introduce a lot more Nigerian players.
Yes.
So we have so many of them that are going to be able to come into play now because we had to satisfy the qualifying numbers and all that. So it's more opportunities for Nigerian players to get the exposure that this tournament has offered since 2013.
Okay.
Right. You know, I like to talk about money. I see it's an $80,000 tournament, but are you going to break it down for us? Is it $80,000 going to the winner of the singles, doubles, the men, women?
It's equal. Men and women is equal, but I think for example, the men's singles, I think it's 10.
Yeah.
Women's singles is also 10, and the men's runner-up is about 5. I don't know what the distribution, but it's something like that. But it's equal for both men and women.
Because I know about some weeks ago we spoke about balancing the gender equality when it comes to pay.
It's both equal. Yeah, it's equal for both of them. I think the ITTF has started to do that. Most of the tournaments these days, both men and women, and the same thing.
Parity.
Yeah.
You have a question?
Yeah. I was listening. My concern is about the players coming up. You know, we have the likes of Aaron Okwadri, Ofion Ediam. You know, there are so many of them that have hit the limelight. But coming up, I mean, we must look at the transition players who will take over from them. So I'm asking because I watched an interview of Aaron Okwadri saying that the problem is that these players who are coming up don't have enough tournaments to attend. The same thing with what Funke Oshunaiko said. And I'm happy you are around. I want you to give us some kind of insight. How do we help some of these players, because we have 2 players, men and women, who are doing well now, very in their teens. They were at the African Games, and how do we help them to hit the limelight?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and it's actually the way to go. For us at the WTT Contender level, I think we have created a platform that has, over the years, helped in exposing some of these young players and getting some of them to clubs. For example, I know it was because of the ITTF Nigeria Open that has now transformed to WTT that players like Taiwo Mati, even Fatima Bello now. Fatima Bello is in Italy now. Some years ago she was still in Nigeria.
And some would even say to some extent Aaron Okodri as well.
Even Aaron, because it helped him when he was trying to get those points to move up. We have some young players. For example, now we have Matthew Kuti, Tosin Oribamiche, Esther. She's been on the circuit as well. There definitely is a need for the NTTF to place a little bit more emphasis on developmental competitions. Yes, we have this elite competition now, but we need to have many more of the of the smaller competitions where these players will be exposed.
So what exactly is the role of the states in this? Because you get the impression that it almost seems as if it's Lagos State that is shouldering this all by itself, and there are 36 states and one federal capital territory, and you get the impression it's not that hard to host a table tennis competition.
It's not.
Just what's 2 tables at most, an indoor sports hall, and you wonder how difficult is it for these states to have an annual or a quarterly competition that involves these developmental programs that you talk about.
I mean, you're very right. I think it's just a matter of commitment and interest.
Priorities?
And priorities. But what we're beginning to see now in table tennis is that there are so many private individuals that are now sponsoring
like
tournaments in Osun State.
Yes.
The one sponsored by Mr. Alabi. Yeah. I think this was the 4th or the 5th year that he's been doing it. And now it's gotten a national affiliation. There's also one in Edo State that is sponsored by a gentleman, I think Pastor Abazui also. He's also done about 4 years. We have, there's a gentleman also in, I think it's in Kebbi, that's also done something like that. So we have quite a few of private individuals. But like you said, the next level would have to be the coordination of this stars that are discovered in each of these states by the state table tennis associations. When it comes to that, maybe apart from about 6 or 7 states, you are not too sure what the other states are doing in table tennis,
what about the likes development. What about the likes of the School Sports Federation as well? Going by the name, School Sports Federation, that is probably the very basic rule, the true grassroots in every sense of the word.
That's something that has always bothered me, and I think there's one of the greatest disconnects that we have in our sports development chain. How can you have a national school sports federation and you don't have state school sports federations? There's a complete disconnect. True. And until we begin to address that, we will not have, the national cannot be in 36 states. True. We've advocated for so many years now that for the National School Sports Federation to be effective, there has to be affiliates at state level. You can't expect them at national level to now begin to play the role of the state. But I don't know, maybe because of this problem between education and sports, we are having that infighting, which we were able to resolve in Lagos State when His Excellency Governor Fashola was governor, and he mandated that, look, you guys have to work together. This education, you have the content. That's the students. Sports, you have the expertise. So I'm moving school sports to the Sports Commission. And that's how we were able to settle that matter. Now, even in the Sports Commission, for example, a member of the board of the Sports Commission is from the Ministry of Education in Lagos State. So you have the synergy in Lagos State. We need to have that transmitted all across the country for education and sports to begin to work together, and then you will now be able to maximize the benefits of the School Sports Federation. They can't work in isolation.
Definitely. I remember back in the day where students used to use sports to get admissions into
schools,
scholarships,
But it feels like it is becoming very difficult now, and I think we should go back to those days because it makes these players find that balance between education and sports. Also helps them on a trajectory when it comes to their future in these sports. Now, like he mentioned, transition process. Now we have, I remember one time I came for a tennis event at the...
Tennis or table tennis?
A table tennis event at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall. And I met a couple of young talents, and they said they cannot afford to buy these tennis kits. Is there any way we can make these kits reach some communities that we know that we have these talents and we can actually nurture them to help them grow in the sports?
Yeah. At the African Table Tennis Federation level, we now are putting something together with some of the official suppliers that we have. The likes of Butterfly and Geu, Jula, and the others, where we will be able to get equipment from them on a yearly basis and pass on to the various host member associations. So that's a program that's already in place. The ITTF has approved it. And I think some African countries are beginning to get those supplies. But that's not going to be enough. It's a bother. It's a bother indeed because those things are not cheap.
Definitely.
The rubbers and all that. But we're beginning to find a lot of old players, or let me say experienced players, who now on an annual basis bring in some of these things
from their
and
different
give
clubs.
it to these children. Even during this WTT, we're going to have one or two of them that are coming in and giving them out.
Nice.
Also, hosting international competitions helps because every time we host this WTT or ITTF Nigeria Open or whatever, we get a certain number of equipment that is sent to us by the International Federation. Of course, at the end of that event, we hand them over to the Lagos State Table Tennis Association for distribution and to the NTTF for distribution to their various states.
Okay, finally, Dr. Tandoh, before we let you go, let's just talk about what can people expect from the WTT Contender that's coming up over the next 1 week.
Yes, it's starting on the 19th with the qualifiers. Like I said, because some of the players came in a bit late to register, so many of the top players are even having to go through the qualifiers. So right from the beginning, it's going to be very hectic for you to be able to get into the main draw. The quality of players that we have for this year is much higher than even the years past, even though the numbers are less. But the quality of players is much higher, and so we expect Lagosians and Nigerians to experience world-class table tennis in an environment that is conducive to the game, an environment that is conducive to spectators and fans.
True.
And we're inviting everyone to join us at the Teslim Balogun Stadium from Wednesday the 19th to Sunday the 23rd of June.
Okay, I think you has one final question very quickly.
Very important question. You know, anytime you see a man of this caliber, you want to get a lot of responses. I was fortunate enough to be at the summit in Imo State when Ihedioha was governor. So I want to ask, Lagos State is a pace setter. What can we do? Like Tunde said, we have 774 local governments, 36 states in this country, including
political zones.
What can we do to replicate these templates across? Because we have talents all over the country, not just Lagos State. What can we do to ensure that we harness these talents?
I think one of the things we need to do, first of all, is to understand the best sports administrative structure that works for us. Yes, Lagos State, we seem to have gotten that sports commission model. But I'm also happy to say that quite a number of other states are also moving in that direction. Edo State has done it. It's moving very well in that direction. Delta State, of course, were the first state that went into it, and it seems to be working. That model,
the sports commission
model is something that I'm an advocate.
Like a tenured CEO.
Yeah, and you have a sports commission that is profiled by professionals, whether they are marketing professionals, whether they are medical professionals, whether they are facility professionals and all that. You have them in that sports zone. And from what we can see from Delta, from Lagos, from Edo, even from Akwa Ibom. I think Akwa Ibom also, no, Cross River State also has set up that commission. Kwara State also has set that up. I'm actually an advocate of the sports commission model, so I've helped quite a number of states to set this up, because it's the only way for us to go. The ministry structure will not help us developmentally.
Okay.
And also, it will not help us if we want to remove government from sports funding.
Okay.
If we don't get into that sports commission model, then we will not be able to attract the private sector enough.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Kweku Tandoh, who is also, of course, the tournament director of the upcoming WTT Contender Lagos that serves up Wednesday next week. We'll be looking forward to that. If you like the very best of table tennis from some of the best players in Africa and beyond, be sure to be at the Indoor Sports Hall, the Molade Okoya Indoor Sports Hall of the Teslim Balogun Stadium from next week, where the WTT Contender will serve off.